I don't understand why people couldn't do the common sense calculation of I get into my car and I'm immediately teleported, 10 years back into the past technology wise compared to every other thing else in my life.
Yeah.
And these people are supposed to have
Yeah.
world leading technology and software. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, this is fun, right? It's Kathy Wood. We've been waiting for their drop. They are by far, I think most of us agree, their research on robotaxi is better than anyone else out there. And they've updated it, and we've got a lot of data to show, and a couple interviews with Kathy just this morning. So you got the big ideas 2025 being dropped. And what they do is they actually, it's mostly, they're disruptive tech in fund. And so they really look for things that are disruptive. And one of their biggest kind of thesis is that the AI is accelerating at doubling rate. Can you explain this very quickly, what this is about?
Yeah, what you see there, all those points along that line, you can see the one line that goes back to the beginning of the graph. That's essentially just looking at Moore's law, that this is the increase in computational power that we have per dollar over time. And you see that that's, one nice, basically straight line. And then right there, just past the number 1, you have a point where all of a sudden you have this new line that kind of splits off from the previous line. And that is the line of different ways that we are now building computers for AI. And it is a significantly steeper slope that we're looking at here. And so it's just, this is almost, it's taking Moore's law, and then we're moving even faster in the amount of expansion of compute that we're doing for these AI computers over even just Moore's law. So, people have been saying Moore's law is dead forever. They've been wrong. This graph shows that they've been wrong. Not only is it not dying, but now it's actually moving twice as fast as it was before, which then bleeds into all the other areas of disruption that ARC is looking at, it because the advances in both AI hardware and AI software are being used in innovative ways to do a whole bunch of new things that we haven't been able to do before in the past. And in the context of this conversation, this is one of the big key drivers that's allowing Tesla and other companies like Waymo, and then Chinese competitors as well, to really try and fully solve the autonomous vehicle problem. And without having the computers and the software that are riding on this even faster curve, then that becomes much harder.
Yeah. And it's a convergence of technologies, and it's an exponential curve. That's the thing that people just need to understand. Exponential curve, cumulative compute purchased, it just,
exponentially
growing.
So that's the thing that people like. This looks like a nice line,
straight line, but it's not.
It's not, because the scale there is an exponential scale. So you've got 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times increases per each one of those lines. And so, like in reality, you're looking at a curve that's going basically vertical
times
towards the end. Yeah.
So she covers quite a number. And I just wanted to point out here that Tesla and Elon companies appear in many places. AI agents is XAI. You got robotaxi, autonomous logistics, energy, robotics. These are all Tesla. Then you got reusable rockets, SpaceX. So let's talk robotaxis. She was interviewed this morning. Let me play that piece of that, and we'll start talking some more.
Invest is out with its big ideas of 2025. There are 11, all related to technology. Joining us now with more on her 2025 strategy and how tech could perhaps get caught in the crossfire of President Trump's trade moves, Kathy Wood, CEO and CIO of ARK Invest. Welcome, Kathy. Good to see you. I guess I would start by saying, for one thing, the market has seemed pretty captivated by a lot of these disruptive technology themes, whether it's the AI infrastructure build out. Obviously, crypto has had an incredible run. Now, Tesla naturally had been on a roll in terms of excitement about autonomy and robotics. So what do you feel is left? What are the ripe ideas that you would like to be positioning for at this point?
I think that the AI movement has just begun, and we've been moving away from more hardware-centric tech, infrastructure and so forth, towards software. Palantir is a very expensive stock, but there's nothing like it in the software space. It is, we believe, going to dominate the biggest part of the tech stack when it comes to AI, and that's the platform as a service part of the stack. So very excited. And again, if you think about the AI revolution, we are today where we were when it came to the internet in the early to mid 90s. So again, we've just begun. And so we have miles to go. And then, of course, the applications, Tesla, not only do we have robo-taxis, but now humanoid robots. And so to give you a sense of slowly then all at once, we certainly think with Tesla, robotaxi is this year. I know that Elon's been saying that it was going to be just around the corner for the past 6 or 7 years, and we thought it would be sooner, but it is here. That is a huge opportunity. What's happening faster than we expected is the humanoid robot opportunity. Tesla in the public markets, certainly Figure AI, Aptronic in the private markets. We own those in our venture fund. Lots and lots of excitement around AI.
Yeah, so she said a couple things about Tesla, right? One is slowly and then everything all at once. And then Tesla is the one that's going to show you real world, right? It's actually, and it's coming now. What was your thinking about what she said there?
Well, yeah, I mean, when she said that autonomous vehicles are here now, I have to assume that she was actually referring to Waymo because they do have that commercial service that's launched. But then in relationship, yes, to Tesla, the just dramatic improvements that we've seen in FSD from version, starting really with version 12, and then over the last year, moving into version 13, the rate of improvement from the beginning of the launch of 12 to where we're at with 13 now on the AI for cars is just moving very, very, very rapidly towards a safer than a human ride, autonomous vehicle software platform that and Elon has committed. He thinks it's going to be done by June. Whether it's done by June or whether it's several months late, like it would have to be pretty late not to end up being in 2025. And I could definitely see a situation where it's kind of like the 8.8 where we had, hey, we're going to launch this on 8.8, and then, it was delayed by 2 months and 2 days to 10.10. But, even a 2-month delay still just puts us into August. And so it could be even more than that. And we could still land well within fiscal year 2025 for an actual paid driverless, autonomous ride hailing service launched by Tesla. And then, as we all know here on this channel, when Tesla launches that service, they have a much cleaner and clearer path to reaching scale for a number of reasons. The software is built from the ground up for scale, much more so than Waymo's approach. Waymo, while their solution does work, it only works in certain areas. And so it's hard for them to really hit this exponential curve of expansion. And then the other thing is that they don't have a vehicle architecture that's built for scale either. And Tesla has both of those things. They have a software and a vehicle architecture that are built for the mass scale. When they finally launch their first autonomous ride hailing platform service, then I think it is very short order of time before it's recognized that they are going to be the dominant player in this space. And that's like, we are on the cusp of that. Every indication that we're seeing today, both from the public releases of software from Tesla, but a lot of expectations now are kind of building up in the market, saying that, it's like, we were pretty much giving Tesla the benefit of the doubt that they're going to do this. There's a little bit of show me left in it, but the show me part is relatively small. And we're right on the precipice of, the day that service launches, it's going to be a big, big deal.
I hear Eric saying that we believe they're coming out right now in June. So we've got lots of slides to go through. We've got another video of Kathy talking about Tesla specifically, of course. And I want to show this slide here because I think this is one of the important slides here. So you got, it actually wasn't even a slide. It was like one of the small corners. And I thought it was important because, number one, I love the way that they actually show this by compute. The more H100 equivalents Tesla has in their data centers, the more likely that they're going to hit the next versions of FSD. In this case, they're expecting a 13.4. Right now, we're at 13.3 to be coming out in the first quarter of 2025, which is now. And then they're expecting another version, second half 2025. That is the one that's going to go robot. That's going to be the one in June. whether it's June or not, they're going to put second half. That's where it's supposed to hit human driver accident rate. And then they have this little line here showing, first of all, this is where the FSDs were previously. And you can already see that FSD went from a 10 mile per intervention to a 1,000-mile intervention in this year. And then we're expecting it to be another leap to over what Waymo had when they started their program. And then this is another leap. And so these are exponential curve on the left. And so people need to understand, like, do you believe that Tesla was going to be exponentially growing, not just linearly growing? And if you understand that, that's because of compute. What's your thoughts on this table?
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to that first graph that you showed of the Moore's law versus the new scaling of AI compute. That growing in scale has just given us all sorts of new capabilities, and that's the same thing that this FSD system depends on, is that we've got to be able to continue to grow our data. We've got to be able to continue to grow our training compute. We've got to continue to do a number of different, like, data curation and training time and all kinds of things to be able to solve this problem. But as long, like, that all of those things are going to happen because those compute resources are becoming available and they're becoming cheaper at the same time at growing rates every year. And so it's inevitable that we're going to have enough of all the raw materials, the resources, the compute power, the knowledge about how to build these things, the data to do it. Like, all of those things are guaranteed to happen, essentially, barring some major cataclysmic event in the world, to where this problem is, like, pretty much guaranteed to be solved.
Yep. All right, let's go through some of her statistics and research. Again, they've got one of the best research. So it was done by Sam Korus and Akash TK. So a couple quick slides. Here's how EVs compare to ICE gas cars. And you can see that EVs are taking share from ICE cars. And that's the thing you need to watch for. So here we are in 2024. And you can see the purple line is ICE cars. And they are gas cars. And they keep dropping every year. And this is the key thing. And then you can see here that this is the curve of which is growing and which is falling. Here we have the future is autonomous electric vehicles. Okay, not just EVs, but the autonomous electric vehicles. The internal combustion engine is on its way out. The trend is clear. This is what they're tracking here. The ICE internal combustion is in purple. Hybrid is in gray. Green is the plug-in hybrid, and the blue is the batteries. And you can see again, globally, this is growing quite a bit. The blue bars are going significantly. So this is a great slide. I want to pause here. This is after more than a decade, most automakers have dropped out of the autonomy race. Tesla and Waymo remain. So in 2014, right? That was like over a decade ago. Many automakers made press releases. They made announcements that they were going to create an autonomous vehicle by 2020. Only Waymo delivered, launching its first commercial autonomous rides in 2018. Tesla plans to launch in 2025. Waymo's launch and Tesla's internal testing of robotaxi suggests that 2025 could be the standout year in which consumers and businesses agree that the future of transportation is autonomous. So this is their list of the companies that announced in 2014 that they're going to be autonomous, robotaxis. You got Volvo, you got GM, Audi, Mercedes, Nissan, BMW, Daimler, Continental. They've all made these announcements at these years saying, hey, we're going to be doing it by 2020. And none of them. And now they no more expectation of launch, no more talk about it, except for Google, Waymo, and Tesla. And for me, when I look at this, it just shows that traditional automakers will say something, but they don't have the skills and ability. You need to be a software company. You need to be an AI company. You need to be a tech company. And those are the ones that are actually going to do it. What's your thoughts on this?
100%. And not just a software tech company, but you have to be a really, really, really good software tech company in the space of AI. Google is one of the premier, AI tech companies in the world. And So, it would lead you to think that maybe the only other players that could succeed are like someone like that from China, or if a Meta wanted to get into the space, which they don't necessarily, they have other priorities. But it would take somebody like that to come in, or Microsoft with some of the things that they're doing. Like these are the only companies on earth that really have the software chops to tackle this problem, at least at this point in time. Maybe it will get easier to solve eventually, but anyone who is expecting any of these automakers to be at the bleeding edge of solving this problem, they just have not clearly seen the the very obvious trends. I mean, I don't understand why people couldn't do the common sense calculation of, I get into my car and I'm immediately teleported, 10 years back into the past technology wise compared to every other thing else in my life. And these people are supposed to have, world leading technology and software. I just don't think that's going to happen. So and they're like, that's not by accident that your car has 10-year-old technology compared to your phone. It's because of the way that the product is built, that they're planning 10 years into the future what they're going to build when they make the decisions. And so they don't have the ability to plan 10 years into the future with 10 year into the future technology. They have to say 10 years from now, we're going to use the technology that's available today. And that's not how the smartphone industry works. That's not how, anything else in technology works, but that's how those legacy auto companies work. And so there's not a way for them to keep up with a technology company on something like this.